You witness news happening near you, we want to hear from you. Send your eyewitness report, event coverage request, photos or videos directly via WhatsApp to 0814 606 4057. You can also reach our newsroom by email at news@vop.ng. I am Nenna Ndomdioto.
And I am Vivian Oguche. Thank you for watching.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I. From social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
In a world brimming with noise, only few rise above, clear, unapologetic, and unforgettable. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie is one of those voices, a storyteller who reshaped global narratives not just about Africa but about identity, power, and womanhood. She was raised in Nsukka, a quiet university town in southeastern Nigeria, a place where intellect was heritage and curiosity a birthright. Among 5 siblings, her passion for books set her apart, from African tales to British classics. She started studying medicine at the University of Nigeria, but later moved to the United States at 19 to focus on writing. In America, she encountered a different lens, one that reduced Africa to a single narrative of poverty and war. That cultural dissonance will shape her voice, sharpening her pen into a tool for clarity and resistance. Her debut novel, Purple Hibiscus, in 2003, arrived with quite a fuss, a coming-of-age tale nestled with Nigerian political unrest. It won the Commonwealth Writers' Prize and the literary world took notice. Then came Half a Yellow Sun in 2006, a sweeping portrait of the Biafran War, love, and shattering way of conflict. The novel earned the Orange Prize for fiction and cemented her place among the greats. Americana in 2013 followed a love story layered with themes of migration, race, and belonging. The New York Times named it one of the 10 best books of the year. Readers across the continent saw their truth in her pages. Chimamanda's influence moved far beyond the printed word. In 2009, she stood on a global stage and delivered The Danger of a Single Story. It wasn't just a talk, it was a cultural reset, a masterclass in reclaiming perspective. 3 years later, We Should All Be Feminists became a manifesto and a movement. Our words echoed through classrooms, boardrooms, and pop culture, even sampled by Beyoncé in Flawless.
All of my work is, writing is very much, it's always about vanity. It's really about you, isn't it? And for me, it's sort of trying to make sense of, America has been such a part of me because I left Nigeria when I was 19. I was educated in the US. There's certain things that I find myself, I spell the American way now to my father's absolute horror. And so there's a connection.
In 2023, Chimamanda ventured into children's literature titled Mama's Sleeping Scarf, published under the pseudonym Unwa Grace James, a tribute to her mother. Inspired by her daughter, the story captures a child's day filled with imagination and familiar love. Away from the spotlight, She is married to Nigerian-American physician Dr. Ivara Esege. Together, they have 3 children. She is a devoted mother, balancing her global literary influence with family commitments. Through initiatives like the Farafina Trust Writing Workshop, she nurtures a new generation of African storytellers, ensuring their voices are not just heard but celebrated. Chimamanda reminds us that storytelling is not just art, it is resistance, healing, and hope. In every sentence she writes, there is courage. In every silence she breaks, there is freedom. And in every story she tells, there is truth.
In the book, I did not have the title. And that often happens when I sort of have an idea of what I want to write about, but I don't know what the title will be. And so I actually had imagined that I would call it For Men Only. I'm serious.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People Television, where your health has a voice.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeats, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happen.
Well, a beautiful morning to you. Welcome to VOP this morning. I'm not particularly excited this morning, and that's because of the outing between the Super Eagles and Morocco. Yes, they did play. They basically played their hearts out, and then it went 120 minutes into penalties. And you know, when it got to penalties, I'm like, okay, this is a no man's game. Anybody can win at this point. And 4-2 penalty shootout. Morocco edged out Nigeria, and so Nigeria will have to play Egypt for third place. Oh well, so that's why I'm not so excited this morning. But there are some things that have gotten me slightly excited, and that's the fact that we'll be talking about politics. So we'll be talking about Kwankwanso, and also what some Nigerians have said is a misplaced priority, and that's about the federal government paying $9 million to a U.S. lobbyist, a U.S. firm, a lobbyist firm to help launder Nigeria's image. Well, that is one of the conversations we'll be having this morning. And then Kwankwanso gives conditions for his impeachment, all right? That also is on the table for today, and we'll also be going to Rivers State, where you have two more Rivers lawmakers back out of impeachment plot against Fubara and his deputy, Odu. Well, these are the major conversations this morning. I am Moses Humphrey.
And I am Chukwuma Okoro. Welcome and thanks for joining us on VOP this morning. Moses, well, I sympathize with you. I'm not a soccer enthusiast, so
yeah, please.
I didn't even watch the match. I woke up this morning to hear that Super Eagles lost, and I asked if they were on their way back. Someone said,
why would you say they should be on their way back so soon?
No, but what else?
They are playing third place.
So I was told now that they will play third place. Ordinarily,
I had to switch off my TV 12:15. I cannot go get BP.
Because of football?
Yes.
Oh, thank God.
I was so
like
pumped. But just like immediately they said it was a penalty, I said, nah. Let me just go and rest.
It was.
Okay, so you didn't trust the Nigerian goalkeeper?
No, I didn't.
Okay. No, it's not about trusting the goalkeeper.
They gave their best though.
Yes, they did.
They actually played.
Well, they lost. They didn't push in as much as I would have expected. So they didn't have enough shots at goal.
That's what I wanted to say. Egypt,
the Moroccans had
like
more shots at goal
at the end.
Well, your best is not good enough. Where second is last. If you are second and you are last, I mean, your best is not good enough. Anyway, good morning, Jen, once again, and thanks for.
Good morning. Good morning.
Now let's get into it. Talking about other interesting trending stories, Nigerians will begin paying a 7.5% value-added tax on selected banking services, including mobile bank transfers and USSD transactions from January 19, 2026, following a new government-backed regulatory directive. The development was disclosed in a notice sent to customers on Wednesday by MoneyPoint, informing users of the impending implementation of the VAT regime on certain electronic banking charges. According to the notice, the directive was issued by tax authorities mandating financial institutions to begin the collection of remittance of VAT and other levies. Well, MoneyPoint is the one that gave out this information. The company, however, clarified that not all banking transactions will attract the tax. Services that do not attract VAT include interest on deposits and savings, the notice read. MoneyPoint also distanced itself from responsibility for the new charges, saying the deductions were not a price increase by the company, saying it is required to collect and remit VAT, that's VAT, value-added tax to Nigerian Revenue Service. The NRS has communicated the deadline for 19 January 2026 for all financial institutions, commercial banks, microfinance banks, and including money transfer operators to start collecting and remitting VAT. Well, I think Nigerians are not surprised. Nigerians are already used to it. Sometimes when I open my banking app, I see cham deductions, I see cham deductions. Some of them, they say a card maintenance fee. Some of them, they say remittance fee and all of that. For every transaction you make. And these things just keep coming and coming and coming. Nigerians, as usual, we take in all of these in our strides. We don't ask questions. You say, oh, it's just about 100 naira, it's just 50 naira. Forgetting that when you aggregate all of that for a bank, it comes out to a lot of money. So you see banks at the end of each financial year declare huge profits without actually rendering services and all of that. But let's speak about the value-added tax increase, 7.5% that would now be charged on financial services. I think the issue of VAT increase was settled last time that the federal government said, look, we are not going to increase it. But unfortunately, surreptitiously, they brought it up to 7.5%. And now they are applying it in banking services and all of that. Nigeria has become a tax haven. The government keeps broadening and widening the tax net to get in more people. And at the end of the day, we are told that, look, we have met our revenue target. We met our revenue target, but we keep borrowing much more, than we even require. And we ask ourselves, if we borrow all these amounts of money, what is the essence of taxing Nigerians again? Or if we are paying so much, what is the essence of having to borrow a lot of money? I on top of my head, I think about 112 trillion naira has been borrowed by this administration in just 2 years of its lifetime. In just 2 years, about 112 trillion naira. And we are told that we deploy these things to infrastructure, deploy them to health, education, nutrition facilities, bringing up the girl child and all of these. These things are the questions we're asking. We don't even see these things. When these monies are borrowed, they end up being looted by Nigerians. It's quite unfortunate that we are going through this again. By the way, I understand that the NRS has halted the release of guidelines for the new tax regime. So I don't know why they are withholding the release of those guidelines. So because Nigerians need to see the guidelines to see what taxes are we paying, what is the modus operandi, how are we going to pay these taxes, how will they be collected, and what will the government use for these taxes. And I hope that by the time they come out, they release these guidelines, it is something that will be cheering to Nigerians to the extent that Nigerians will believe, well, if I pay tax, my tax money should work for me, because that is the balance that we need in all of these things.
I totally agree with you. For me, I think it's a lack of transparency, because even before the new tax regime went live, one of the things a lot of people grappled with was the communication. We had different people putting out so many communication, even the banks themselves. But at the end of the day, you end up getting confused. If you ask the average Nigerian what the whole the new tax regime is about, just a few, can even explain. And then this VAT, like you said, it's not even about taxing Nigerians. What is it going to, what is this money? What are these monies going to be used for? To do. So just like you said, thank God they've halted the
release of the guidelines.
Yes, so
but
we are
eventually
hoping
it will come.
It would come. Nigeria, whether we like it or not, we are now a tax haven. And it's the ordinary Nigerian that will bear the brunt of all of this. Imagine you opening your bank app, just like you said, sometimes your emails, you're seeing stamp duty, you're seeing card maintenance. In one day, even if you make 8K transfer, the amount of deductions these banks take out from your accounts, it's really, really disturbing, especially because we don't even understand, what the whole process is all about. So I think more communication and transparency.
Well, when Tinubu came into office, when President Tinubu came into office, I told a few of my friends that, look, it's going to be a tax regime. Tinubu is known as the tax master, and that's not coloring anything or hiding any information. He is known as the tax master, and this just further buttresses that point. This is a lot. This is going to take its toll on the ordinary Nigerian, because what this simply means is a Nigerian who earns 100,000 naira. Now, basically, because you pay for every transaction, 7.5 if you use USSD or mobile banking, which is what a lot of Nigerians use. You want to transfer, you have your mother somewhere, they ask you for 10K, you transfer 10K, 7.5 on that one. You get to a place you want to buy maybe some toiletries. They tell you, oh, it is 5,000. You say, okay, you don't have cash on you. You transfer 5,000. There's 7.5 on that one. Now, if what you had in your account was 100,000 naira, by the time you send 10K, you buy toiletries of 7K, there's 7.5 on the 10K, there's 7.5 on the 7K. You now see, okay, you want to buy groceries. You spend another 30,000 on groceries. There's 7.5 on that one as well. By the end of the day, out of 100,000 in your account, when you have bought things of about 85,000 naira, your money would have finished.
Your money would have finished because
7.5 on all these other things
when you were
would have
doing
taken off the rest.
When you were doing the calculations, I'm talking about 10,000 and paying 7.5. You know, it hides under. There's a cloak of. I'm looking for appropriate word. What I want to say is that people will not understand.
Yes.
You know the magnitude.
That's another
now,
point.
The 10,000 you are talking about is that you pay 750 naira.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
By just making a transfer of 10,000, you pay a VAT of 750 naira.
That's a lot.
So if you now do a transfer of 30,000, you'll be talking about 2,300.
That's a lot of money.
When you break it down like this, then Nigerians get to see how expensive it will be. Now, this has nothing to do with the stamp duty that you mentioned. There's 50 naira stamp duty.
It's now 100 naira. It's not 50 naira.
No, it's still 50 naira.
My bank is 100 naira. I think you need to check. Check.
And that's another thing. People need to go to their transaction and check. The transactions that they make. I think it's still 50 naira. You know, but sometimes they deduct multiple times.
Okay, maybe that's
yes.
why.
There's a business account I use, and then I saw multiple deductions of 50 naira. I'm like, oh, get in there, man. What is going on?
And it gets worse to the extent that even if you go to POS to collect money now you still pay.
You will pay. Now, what this will do is people would want to go to the banks, withdraw money.
I wanted to say that.
In bulk.
In bulk.
Now, the banks already will tell you they don't have money because all the monies are with the POS. So then people will be compelled to go to the POS. Yes. Now, when people feel POS is cheating them, they will trudge the banks and then you have queues. Banks will be compelled to give people cash. So people will now move around with cash. The ordinary market lady who sells pepper will tell you, look, don't transfer money to me.
To me, yes. Because I can't get it out without paying.
Exactly. Money. Give me cash. So the pressure, all what they did earlier during, I think in 2022, cashless policy. This defeats everything. Everything. We'll go back to stuffing cash in our backyards if care is not taken. That's what this will do.
And it's not good for the economy.
Of course it's not good for the economy.
Because you have more money in the system. That's inflation will keep increasing. Because inflation is
and cost of business will also increase because when the businessman knows that, look, for every money I get and I want to restock, I will pay extra when I do transfers to my vendors, then I need to increase the price of what I'm selling.
Of course, you have to factor in the price.
So whatever
cost into your price.
Whatever people are earning now the impact of it will be seriously watered down. Very unfortunate.
I think Nigeria is on a wine. Honestly,
that's just the best word to say.
Oh well, let's move on to another conversation now. The High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, sitting in Gwagwalada, has arraigned a former senator representing Adamawa North, Senator Elisha Abo, over allegations of rape involving a 13-year-old schoolgirl. Abo and a second defendant were brought before the court on Wednesday in a criminal matter filed by the Inspector General of Police, IGP. Both defendants pleaded not guilty to all counts. After considering arguments from both sides, the court granted bail to both defendants with conditions. Abo was granted bail in the sum of 50 million naira with 2 shorties of good repute and was ordered to surrender his international passport. The second defendant was granted bail in the sum of 40 million naira, also with 2 sureties, of good repute. Now, the case was adjourned to February 11, 2026 for hearing. The arraignment follows earlier reports that the Nigeria police filed multiple charges against the former lawmaker relating to allegations of rape and sexual assault involving a minor. Investigators reportedly concluded there was sufficient basis for the matter to be tested in court. Senator Abba represented Adamawa North Senatorial District until he lost his seat after an appellate court decision in October 2023. Now, he didn't lose his seat in October 2023. He lost his seat when, he was brought before a Privileges and Ethics Committee, this disciplinary committee, to try his actions at a toy store, basically.
Adult toys.
Adult toy store, and where he slapped a lady.
Yeah.
He was buying toys. If you don't know what toys means, ask your neighbor.
I'm talking about just talk about.
If you don't know what toy means, ask your neighbor. He was buying. Give me a word for it.
No, that's what they call it.
Toys.
Adult toys. Adult toys.
Okay.
Well, I don't know.
You don't know?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
No.
So he was
Ask your
in an adult toy
I don't have
store.
neighbors. I live alone.
He was in an adult toy store, had, confrontation with the lady, slapped her, brought before Privileges and Ethics Committee for disciplinary action to be carried out, And then Senator Remi Tinubu was part of that committee, and he lashed out at her. He spoke and then, said, you don't have a right to try me. You're a woman, blah, 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 blah. And all of that happened. And I said it at that time, I said, this young man may not come back to the Senate. And truth to my words, even when he felt that he had been voted in, he was taken out by the court, of course, in 2023. And his troubles have increased. But, of course, he brought this one upon himself when he, met with a minor. I think the story has it that he told a young girl to bring the other girl to his house, and he gave them about 40,000 naira or 50,000 naira thereabout, and tried to have his way with her, or maybe he did. I don't know. They'll prove all of that in court. And then even tried to, give money to the mother of. It's a messed up story, but he will have his day in court, and this is very embarrassing, I must say. Very embarrassing. But anyway, it's in court now, so we'll let the court, sit on this one and decide on whether he's guilty or not.
I think we should have stricter laws, that protect the girl child, the children, because if he commits, the court of law would give the final verdict if he's innocent. Of course, he's innocent.
This is a community where minors are given out in marriage.
Guilty. Yeah, I know. But what does the Nigerian law say? But because there are no punitive measures, imagine he already has been given bail, he's been granted bail, they've seized his international passport. Is that enough punitive measure?
No, it's in court. So,
yeah, it is. But I'm just saying that
he
it
doesn't
will
run
just,
away.
of course. But this is just like every other.
You wanted to put him behind, put him in chains? Put him in chains before trial?
I didn't say that. But this is a 13-year-old. This is a minor.
But they get married to 13-year-olds over there.
They don't. 13.
Over there, yes.
Not even 16.
They do.
They do. Even governors. Former governor of
Zamfara said it. Was it 13 years?
Yes.
It was 13.
Yes. It's normal. It's a norm there. It's a norm.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that we're excusing it.
Yes,
it doesn't mean it's right, yes. But.
Yes, but we need to have more punitive measures to ensure that the girl child is not taken advantage of.
No, it's not. We need to have more punitive measures for rape. Because even young men are raped too.
Oh yes, let's not go into the whole gender.
No, you've not seen the gender thing.
Because this is a girl right now, so that's why.
That's what we're talking about. The gender thing.
On a brother, yes.
Boys get raped too.
Boys get raped, but percentage-wise, girls.
A lot of that is going on.
Okay, I don't want us to turn it to a gender debate, but let's wait for.
It's a gender debate.
So I'm passionate. Let's wait for the outcome of the.
If you're talking, okay, let me start from the outcome. Let me start from the end and then come back. For the outcome, I think eventually they will send this man to
jail. He needs to.
Because that is the intent.
No, you're judging him already. Let's not judge him already.
I think they will send him to jail because that is what the intentment is. The intent to discipline him so that next time or others will even learn from him. Now, talking about the case itself, the case was mired in controversy about this child. I think they already had a relationship before that particular event, because we also hear that at some point the child was asking, send me money for my birthday, and he sent him 200,000 naira. Yeah. At the point, the child's mother started asking for money too. You need to send those money. So they already had a relationship. And one funny thing is that this girl in question is also the daughter of a senator.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed.
Either serving or former senator. So the whole thing is so complicated. But for the issue of rape, I think Jen has already said a lot. We need to, society, these things happen everywhere. I read something on in the news yesterday. I think even on airplane, there was a passenger who tried to rape a woman in flight. Wow. Yesterday. Yes, in the UK. Wow. In Europe. I think they were flying from one part of Europe to the other, and he tried to take advantage of the woman in flight, and I don't know. So people had to, the woman raised the alarm. I think it was in the lavatory or what.
Okay. So, I wanted to ask.
So people had to, the attendants, the air crew and all of that had to get in, and after a while, when they landed, they handcuffed the man. So these things happen. And I think it has to do with the psychology of men. It is that there is that sense, that mechanics in the sense that says this is the right time to stop. So it's when you lack that sense, when that mechanics, is tuned off, that is when you see people get into this kind of issues.
So self-control.
It's psychological, self-control, self-censorship and all of that. It's unfortunate, but we see these things happen every day. Why this case is reported in court is because of the fact that the senator is involved. And another thing is that the stigmatization that comes with it. There's a lot of stigma. People don't easily come out to say, oh, I've been taken advantage of, I've been raped, and all of that. So a lot of it gets hidden in society because these things happen in society.
Because of the stigma, yeah.
Because there's a stigma. It's only very few men that will come and say, look, this young man took advantage of me, and I'm ready to pursue it to the end. Because the community will hear about it, the street will hear about it. When you go to court, journalists might be there, and they'll just take it up, and before you know it, the person is stigmatized. Even in her innocence, people will say, oh, you are the one that lent yourself and all of that. So, but then society is dynamic. We are growing up. Abroad in Europe, you see women come out and say, look, this person took advantage of me, and they say it boldly. I hope it gets to a certain point where we say, look, these things should stop. By also coming out to say, people try to take advantage of me. And in the process, get some kind of closure and healing, because it can be very, very traumatic.
It is.
Absolutely. But let's get into another conversation. Jay?
Yeah. So Governor Sheriff Oborevori of Delta on Wednesday donated 65 new SUVs to traditional rulers in the state. The governor, who described the traditional institution as a tool for service for guardians of peace and stability, presented the cars to the royal fathers at the government house in Asaba. The vehicles included 60 new Prado Jeeps and 5 Land Cruisers. According to the governor, the gesture underscored the centrality of the traditional institution in governance. He described the event as a very important and symbolic day in the life of this administration, adding that the traditional rulers are far more than custodians of culture. He reaffirmed his administration's irrevocable commitment to building a strong, inclusive economy founded on equity and justice, and lauded the traditional rulers for their support. There we go again. 65 SUVs to traditional rulers in Delta states. Gentlemen, what do you think?
Well,
That's a lot of money.
What I think is that the SUVs have been given to traditional rulers.
They have already.
65 of them, Delta states.
Yes.
Well, I don't know how the economy of Delta State runs, but I also understand that there are lots of rural communities in Delta State. There are parts of Delta State that they still don't have light now. There are swampy areas in Delta State that there is no light, they don't have water. The hospitals are not functioning. The schools are dilapidated and all of that. Even in the capital city, Asaba, there are parts of Asaba, that people normally don't. When you look at this area, say, this is the state capital, and so we have a governor. Of course, these SUVs will be brand new ones. So let's do some form of arithmetic here.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay, that's what you're trying to do. So if you have and the average 150 million naira for one, if you times it by 65, I think my maybe your calculator can. My own calculator cannot take that. So that is to tell you that it's a humongous
65,
amount. Yes. 65. It should be a humongous amount.
Actually, Okay, I'm actually times in by 155 million because I just checked.
Okay.
A 2024 Prado Jeep,
Okay.
which is, close to being the latest one, brand new, is about 155 upwards million naira. So if you multiply that by 65, we're looking at about 10 billion 75 million.
10 billion, 75
10 billion,
million.
75
okay,
million.
Now, we are going to give like 20% markup on that because it wouldn't be direct purchase. It will be contract. Somebody will be given the contract to buy the car and all of that. So, and that's about another 1 billion naira. So you're looking at 11 point something billion naira. I think that will put up a very, very world-class hospital. No, electricity is, let's not even travel far. Okay. Let's talk about hospital.
That's what I wanted to say.
Hospital, world-class hospital to take care of.
Or even sink boreholes in some communities, because in Delta State, because of the oil spillage, a lot of communities don't have access to clean water. And a lot of them can't even fish. At least I'm quite conversant with some of the communities in Delta State. Even people who are fisherwomen, because they have fisherwomen, a lot of them have downed their tools and doing something else because the waters are polluted. So apart from that source of livelihood, there could be skill acquisition centers that could have been set up with such monies. But I like what you said, that money would have been pumped into the health sector in that state. It's really sad that they would rather spend so much money on securing political loyalty.
This actually, as a matter of fact, this is 2027 at play.
Definitely.
Most definitely. Oh, well. Let's move away from those conversations. Let's run to the papers. Let's just give you newspaper headlines now, and then much later, we'll dissect the stories from the papers. That'll be at 10 o'clock. But in the meantime, just to make you aware of the stories in the news, well, we'll take a break. When we come back from this break, we'll bring you newspaper headlines. All right, here we go to Nigerian Tribune. The window headlines. U.S. suspends immigrant visa processing for Nigeria, Egypt, Brazil, 72 other countries. Also, Fubara, 2 more lawmakers withdraw support for impeachment. And then the big story here. FG, ASU unveil agreements to end prolonged university crisis. 40% salary increase for lecturers takes effect January 1. 1.7 million naira special annual allowance approved for professors. Readers to get 840,000 naira allowance annually. Don't wait for strike to implement agreement, ASU tells FG. Warns VCs against mismanagement of funds. NGX confirms listing of 3,156 billion UBA shares. NJC recommends Justice Oyewole for Supreme Court. 35 others for judicial appointments, clears Osun State CJ of alleged misconduct. And also, why Kano governor's defection to APC is delayed. Consultations affected by lesser Hajj. Investigations. Our party members being forced to defect. Kwankwanso. APC debunks claim. Oh well. And then something on health. Bone discovery could lead to exercise in appeal for osteoporosis. Oh well. Well, those are the headlines on the cover page of Nigerian Tribune.
And on the front page of The Guardian, we have a lead story here. Ambassador's absence, desperation exposed federal government's $9 million lobbying in the U.S. Falana demands immediate release of Edo protesters. Concerns as 10 MDAs budget 24 billion naira for software this year. Cracks emerge as more Rivers lawmakers push back on Fubara's impeachment. Tinubu, Mac, NPAN columnist, Mon Newswatch co-founder Mohammed. TUC demands immediate withdrawal of no work, no pay directive for health workers. Ex-SSG alleges Katsina local government budgets 300 million to pay bandits. Nigeria's oil production falters as federal government sets terms for bid round and licenses. And Dangote assures Nigerians of price stability, listing of refinery stocks.
All right, then there we go. That's pretty much how far we can go on newspaper headlines. But don't forget, 10 o'clock, newspaper review will go deeper into those headlines and making sense of it. Misplaced priorities. ADC knocks FG over $9 million US lobbying contract. Well, details of this story and more after this break. Stay with us.
Stay with us.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
Uye Osarche is my name. I am a friend of the microphone. I talk and get paid, and I look forward to being in your studios. Voice of the People TV. That name is unique, and the brand is very sweet. I like the packaging, picture qualities, camera qualities, and then of course, the quality of human beings that I see sometimes on your channel. I mean, like, well, this TV station will go places. Voice of the People TV.
Oh yes, you are on to Voice of the People TV. Live here in Benin City, the cradle of black civilization. What are you waiting for? Tune in, bro.
Hey guys, what's up? How you all doing? They call me Ovisha Nelson Wine, your #1 celebrity host, and you are watching Voice of the People Television, VOP. Stay tuned.
Voice of the People, you can hear me now. My name is Patrick Doyle, and I wish that you continue to echo the voices of the people. Big up VOP TV.
My name is Suibifa Dokubo. Please keep watching VOP TV.
Hi, my name is Kwekumali Ikenda Onyekwena, and I am with the Voice of the People TV. Now, if you're looking for the veritable channel for information, politics, robust discussions, you don't need to go far. VOP has you. VOP will always have you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Patrick Diabwa, aka
Ibani Chuka, Amayanabo the Eagle King, and you are watching VOP TV. Stay with us.
2564 is coming up on Burning Down, right? 2564 Atlantic Tower.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. Now, let's get into the conversation. The African Democratic Congress, ADC, along with some Nigerians, have also criticized the federal government for approving a $9 million contract for lobbying services in the United States. Now, the party noted that no government in Africa has ever committed such an obscene sum to a short-term public relations exercise, while the ADC recognized the importance of representing Nigeria's interests internationally. It lamented that spending $9 million on image management at a time when millions of Nigerians cannot afford food, fuel, or basic health care is a clear case of misplaced priorities and moral blindness. Reports emerged that the federal government of Nigeria engaged the services of a Washington-based lobbying firm, DCI Group, in a $9 million contract aimed at communicating its efforts to protect Christians in Nigeria to the United States government. According to the document filed with the U.S. Department of Justice, the deal was facilitated by Asta Legal, a Kaduna-based law firm, acting on behalf of National Security Advisor NSA Nuhu Ribadu. The agreement authorizes the U.S. firm to assist the Nigerian government in communicating its actions to protect Nigerian Christian communities and maintaining U.S. support in countering West African jihadist groups and other destabilizing elements. Now, under the terms of the contract, DCI Group will receive 750,000 naira monthly, amounting to $9 million over 12 months. The deal runs initially for 6 months, yes, an initial 6 months until June 30, 2026, with an automatic renewal clause for another 6-month period. So it's for an initial 6 months, and then later on, you know, if there is a need for renewal, there would be renewal. Now, to discuss this, we have Dele Fanimo, a veteran reporter and political commentator, with us in the building. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Jane.
Good morning.
Good morning, Moses and Chukuma.
Also in the studio is, joining us virtually, that is, we have Comrade Ayoyinka Oni, human rights activist and public affairs commentator. He joins the conversation. Well, let's start off with you, Dele Fanimo. Now, first off, what are your thoughts on this? Is this necessary? Because, I mean, lobbying is one thing. Facts on the ground is another thing. Messages being pushed out is one thing. Fact on the ground is that Nigerians are being killed by terrorist groups. A lot of them have been proscribed. They are terrorist groups, and they are killing Nigerians. Yeah. What does it matter if it is Christian or not?
You see, by the grace of God, I'm a member of Chartered Institute of Personnel, Public Relations, NIPR. And by virtue of my long stay, if I had probably updated my membership, I should be a fellow. Because by the time you are 15, and I'm close to 25 years So I understand public relations. I also read public relations. You see, public relations is not about lies. There's a difference between public relations and the propaganda. Propaganda seeks to feed you with information consistently, even when it is not true, to the extent that you see it as true. But public relations is to communicate facts in a way you would understand and key into it. Now, having said that, there is nothing wrong in lobby. There is nothing wrong in engaging public relations practitioners to work on a narrative in a pleasant way for people to understand and sit with. But when you deviate from this and you begin to raise propaganda, even when you know that you don't have enough facts or even if any facts at all to back such, then it's no longer public relations. So now, the real issue now is it proper, is it timely for the federal government to enlist the support of an offshore public relations firm to burnish the image of the country and sell our narratives in a pleasant way to the outside world, particularly the American government? Yes, it is proper.
It is proper.
But again, I am also of the opinion that we have come a long way in this country. That if you are going to do real public relations, I think we have companies in Nigeria that should be able to do this without contracting it offshore. It's just like you have more than enough coaches in Nigeria that can coach the Super Eagles, but we are so bent on bringing in even half-baked coaches around the world.
All right, so is it better to find a way to clean up your image than solve the problem? If actions are put into solving the problem, wouldn't it automatically clean up the image of the country? Because we are seeing these terrorists being released. All right, we're seeing them let off the hook. We are seeing increased killings in parts of Nigeria, but the government seems bent on, rather than focus and ensure that you reduce the ranks of these terrorists, you're more concerned about how you are seen in the outside community.
You see, that's where I was just laying premise.
Okay.
I was coming to that. I was about telling you if it is proper to spend such humongous amounts on public relations stunts when the underlying problem has not been solved and be seen to be solved today. There is no day that passes without a mention of one kidnap, one killing, one abduction, and and it goes on and on like that. So, how much of public relations are you going to do to kill, suppress this information that is always coming out? And they are based on empirical facts, because we see families. There was this video I saw last night of a woman begging people, even against government's aversion to paying ransom, begging people to please contribute money to save a child who is a medical doctor, somebody who is supposed to be the breadwinner of the family in captivity. So, how much of public relations are you going to put up there in America or elsewhere in the world that will kill the narrative of that woman?
Oh, well.
Let me just say in summary, the summary of it is a misplaced priority.
Misplaced priority, you say? Well, government doesn't seem to think that way. Well, let's bring on Dr. Elder Yusuf Dambaki. Good morning to you. Welcome to the conversation.
Good morning and thank you.
Yeah, Elder Yusuf Dambaki is a public affairs commentator and he's also a politician within the Labour Party. Well, good to have you on the conversation. Now, looking at this conversation, the government of Nigeria paid about, will be paying 750,000 naira monthly for the next 6 months, which basically comes up to about $9 million. And we're talking in dollars now, to a lobbyist firm in the United States to help London its image. You know, the issue of Christian genocide and a few other things to help tell the American government that Nigeria is doing something against the supposed genocide against Christians. How does this make you feel as a Nigerian? Is it something that you will, you'll give the thumbs up to?
Well, sincerely, it's a shame. I am not so surprised because the mantra of this government is that what money cannot do, more money can do. And they've been living by that. They have come to power through propaganda, and the same propaganda is haunting them, and they are spending so much on Nigerians' resources that they ought to use to even arrest the challenge and address the challenges that we are facing into selling false narrative.
Sorry to butt in now. Do you think that Nigeria's government, I mean, the federal government was pushed into this because the Biafra Republic in exile, the BRG, Biafra Republic government in exile, a faction of it is already lobbying with a United States company, Washington and Madison, a lobbyist firm as well, where they pay $66,000 monthly to push the narrative of genocide. All right. Now that is confirmed report, and that has been ongoing for some time. I'm trying to get the figure of the person who allegedly signed that one. That is coming now. That was signed by Harrison Anyogu, aka Ogechukwu Nkere. Now he reportedly signed that sum where Biafra Republic government in exile pays 66,000 naira. But the government of Nigeria decided to go overboard, more like countering what they feel is against the image of Nigeria, and to counter the narrative. And they are paying $750,000 monthly. Is this a good way to fight what they think is propaganda against the government? Let's not forget, there are records on ground that people are being killed. And the question I asked the analyst in the studio, what does it matter whether they are Christians or not? Should that be the concern? Or should the government be more concerned about Nigerian lives, Nigerians being killed?
That is it. Government should be concerned about being killed, whether they are Christians or Muslims. And looking at the Biafran group, they paid this money out of their pocket. We're talking about taxpayers' money. Government should not carry such an amount of taxpayers' money and imbibe on this fruitless propaganda trying to counter narratives. There should be nothing to hide. If the American government have the capacity to investigate and find out the real facts on the ground, and government should be doing her primary responsibility of protecting life and property, they need not to engage lobbyists to do any image making for them, rather than concentrating on doing the right thing, and it will speak for itself. So I think it's a misplacement of priority. It's a waste of resources, and it's a sign of their desperation and irresponsibility.
Okay. All right, Elder, let me start with you. Because we understand that the government is already taking credit that, look, they have been able to, to push back the other group, that's the Biafran group, the BROIG group, that the government is already taking credit, say, look, despite their efforts, we've been able to sign deals, an agreement with the United States government, and we just took possession of certain arms and ammunition from the United States government. Now, if the government is gloating, does it look like the lobby is working? Because the government, United States seems to have backpedaled. Trump seems to have backpedaled, in his hard stance over time, because he said we expect more strike, but we don't see any of that, We have not seen any of that because there's a space. Meanwhile, the terrorists have doubled down with on the activity. So does it look like this lobby is working in favor of the Nigerian government? What do you think?
Well, that something is working does not make it right. That's what I'm saying. That they should focus on doing the right thing. It may work for some time, but in the long run, is it going to be sustainable? I think all they are doing is because of the 2027 election. The government is trying to paint a picture of itself as a false image of itself in the outside world. And these things are not sustainable. After the general election, we are going back to square one. So I think we should focus and do the right thing, fight this insurgency as it stands, and eventually we will get there. There is no need for cutting corners to achieve the title.
Okay, Elder Yusuf, we know that image laundering and lobbying is the mainstay of all the successive governments of Nigeria. But what does this present one, this latest, what does this say about our foreign policy, especially where we have a government that spends so much on image laundering and putting up the perfect picture, especially to the outside world, while failing to take care of the root cause of the problem back home? What does this say about our foreign policy?
Clearly that we have failed. Look at how long it took for ambassadors to be appointed. It shows that Nigeria is not serious, because your ambassador is your representative. We ought to have a relationship on ground. We must not wait for such events. Then we start putting up teams, spending money in order to cover up. So I think it shows that everything about them is artificial. And I stand to be quoted. It is not sustainable. It will not stand the test of time. It is political. And after 2027, we're going back to square one. We might even end up worse in terms of security than what we are facing now.
Okay. All right. Elder, let me stay with you. I'd like for us to expand the discussion around insecurity in Nigeria. What do you think, in what ways, if you are asked to make prescriptions now to the government, how do you think that the government can solve the problem of insecurity? And that is question number one. And do you think it's a political problem or it's a military problem? Do you think that the military has failed, or do you think that it is the call and responsibility of the politicians or the government, as a matter of fact, to ensure that this insecurity is ended once and for all?
You see, in every agitation, there is a cause. We have seen the Niger Delta. When the militants pick up arms, there's a cause for which they were fighting for. And in this militancy, you can't really point at any cause. There is no genuine reason. So for government to fight this successfully is to deal with it decisively, including the sympathizers and the sponsors. Sympathizers are as dangerous as sponsors, because sympathizers are their voice. They are speaking for them. They're encouraging them. They're giving them the booster. So I think government should bring out the sponsors and sympathizers to book, and that will put an end to it. Okay. But for as long as they keep playing politics with the sympathizers and the sponsors, we will not see an end to it. It's not a military thing. It's purely political.
Okay, when you say playing politics with it, and why do you think that if the government has not come all out to destroy these people, and you say they are playing politics with it, what kind of politics will it be? Is it the politics of, oh, let's remain in power, or is it the politics of, oh, we made an agreement with you that you are going to protect us? Recall that we had some elements, say, when a certain government was trying to take out Boko Haram, we had people, you know, from some parts of the country say, oh, the attack on Boko Haram is an attack on our people. Recently, we have people, prominent people in the north say, look, you need to negotiate with these people. So what kind of politics is that? Is that politics of perpetuating the government, or is it a politics of we are making money out of this engagement, out of the insecurity? Which one is it for you?
Exactly those speaking for the bandits and the terrorists, they are their sympathizers. They are the ones negotiating and pacifying government on their behalf. And what they are saying by an attack on them is an attack on our people. Literally is, if you attack them, you are not going to get our votes. So, and because the government in power needs votes, they would tend to do what will please these people so as to get the votes. That's what makes it political. And there is an economic aspect of it, because those sympathizers are not doing it for free. They're gaining from it, because there are different faces. There are those who are doing it for religious purpose, and there are those who are doing it for economic purpose. That they will continue to have control of certain mining areas and be doing illegal mining and be making money out of it. So they are all sympathizers and sponsors. So government should trace them and deal with them. By the time you start arresting sympathizers and sponsors, I'm telling you, this thing will come to an end. And more so, there are certain developments that aid this business. One is communication. Two is bike. Now, who are the ones importing bikes into Nigeria? Communication. What partnership is government establishing with the communication industry to be able to trace this? Because when you take away phone, you are almost suffocating this business. So we need to know what government is doing in these areas to bring an end. So government is not very, very transparent in the fight against insecurity. So that is what makes it more and more suspicious.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Elder Yusuf Dambaki. Now let's bring it back to the studio now. As we wrap up this conversation, the ordinary Niger. First off, I have two questions for you, Mr. Afanimo. Two questions for you. The narrative of, the Muslim ticket. How has that affected the narrative of a genocide against Christians in Nigeria? And what can this administration do differently, aside from lobbying, to correct that narrative? That's on one side, if you will. I remember all the questions. That's on one side. My second question is, if a group is lobbying the United States to come into Nigeria, sanction politicians, seek, they're being offered military support or action if there is a state of Biafra, access to oil and the rest, and all of that. And then Nigerian government is also lobbying the same United States government. And the United States government that threw a bomb in Nigeria on December 25, is also giving Nigerian government weapons and the rest of them. Who's losing in all of this? And who really is gaining in all of this? Is it the Nigerian people? Should the Nigerian people be concerned that their interest may not be, on the menu here? It might be just interest of foreign organizations. I don't know. If you can help us make sense of it all.
You see, the Muslim ticket is just for the optics. I don't see, for the little I know about the current president, It's not the everyday Muslim you see.
But you don't think that buttresses the narrative of segregating Christians in Nigeria and then some sort of fight against Christians in Nigeria?
What I'm saying is, let's take it from that point about the optics of Muslim tickets.
Okay.
Yes, it was basically for political reasons that they had to raise that dust at that time. But from all indications, I don't see the president pandering to this Muslim agenda. You know, even in all
you mean
religions,
Islamization of Nigeria?
No, I don't think the president
Okay.
will want to support that. I don't think the president will want to support that. And even to some extent, though there have been allegations in the past that the current vice president was also sympathetic to the Boko Haram, but that has not been proven. But I can tell you for free that the current president is not likely to be sympathetic to these insurgents. And by extension, he would not want, I don't think he will support, because the way we practice religion in the Southwest is quite, particularly the Muslims, is quite different from the way these people, we separate culture and tradition from religion in the Southwest. But in some other places, it's almost like Siamese twins, you know. So to that extent, I would say that it may not be the real issue, because for instance,
I'm talking about optics now.
Yeah.
The optics.
Yeah, you see,
what a man has
it's
on
about
his
a
mind.
perception.
Exactly. So what a man has, his intentions can be dwarfed by the perception of the people.
That's why sometimes you need public relations to correct perceptions.
Okay.
You understand? Now, to your second question, which is about what is the need for anybody that is involved in it, either the one urging American government to support Nigeria to make sure that these people don't overrun the Christian communities. Of course, everybody knows, except we want to deceive ourselves. For me, I am an example of both religion. My mother was a Muslim before she got married to my father, and she died a Muslim in my father's house, who was also a Christian. So for me, when you talk about religion, it doesn't really matter to me much, because I see it as a personal thing. My sister, the firstborn of my mom, and the thirdborn, they are there on the island. They are Muslims, Rashidat and all that. So now, let me tell you, at the heart of all this, we shouldn't be focusing on those elements that seek to separate us on religious line. The point is, for humanity's sake, there shouldn't be killing. And if it's located around a particular sect that seeks to propagate a religious ideology that will result into killing, I think for a right-thinking person who understands what the obligation is, obligation or our obligation to humanity, he should condemn killing at all costs.
Okay.
And if there is any opportunity for anybody to support in ensuring that bloodshed is halted in this country, I go for that person.
Exactly the point. Now, you've said quite a few things that are very instructive. The people that are supposed to condemn these killings are not even condemning them.
Yeah.
So it begins to, to push that narrative, drive that narrative that there is an agenda, at the end of the plan.
Yeah.
Now, you said something again about the perception people have about the sitting vice president. Whether he's pandering to Boko Haram, whether he's sympathetic to Boko Haram or what, and you say it has not been proven. I want us to talk about Kabiru Sokoto, who was found in the Borno State Government House in Abuja when he was the governor. In fact, Governor's Lodge when he was governor. Would it have been possible that such a high-profile criminal would be hidden in the Governor's Lodge without the Governor's knowledge? That is the number one. Number two, the so-called kidnap of the Chibok girls. We all understand what happened. That he was the governor then, and the Minister of State for Education then, Nyesom Wike, who is now the Minister of the FCT, said, look, we have intelligence that these people are going to strike. So that school should not be open. Schools around that area should not be open. Now, the sitting vice president, now then as governor, said that nothing was going to happen. He opened the school and the incident happened. So what further proof do we need to say that, look, he is sympathetic to Boko Haram?
Well, from your analogy, which is also in the public domain,
okay.
One, perhaps if he was not the governor at that time, he should have been prosecuted for aiding and abetting crime. Because the moment that you allow a high-profile criminal to hibernate in your house, there's no way you won't know that that man was there. So he is culpable. But you know, Nigeria, we have a way in Nigeria that if anything happens and that thing is not attacked immediately, we tend to forget about it. As a matter of fact, if it were to be a place where data statistics are documented for future use, immediately Shetima left government house, he should have been prosecuted for aiding and abetting crime, for housing, because it is enough reason for him to be arraigned in court for providing protection for a known criminal. And ignorance is no excuse in law. Since he was the custodian of that particular building at that time as the governor's lodge, and he was the governor then. Then we have seen a lot of issues. As a matter of fact, some of those governors, particularly in Borno State, have one way or the other been indicted and accused of tacitly supporting these criminals. You know, you remember the only person that you can also exonerate in all of this is Mamman Kashala. You know, Mamman Kashala was the first governor in 1999.
Exactly.
You know, until Alimodu Sharif came.
Okay.
Alimodu Sharif, it was at the height of Alimodu Sharif's government that Boko Haram exploded. You understand? He was the one that gave them parcel of land, largest parcel of land.
All right. I want us to return to the question to the issue of, paying so much for image laundering. Now, we have a friend who is a Trumpist. You and I have a friend who is a Trumpist. Now, and I don't see you pander to Trump, but you are somehow very objective in my own assessment. Now, do you think that this effort is going to sway Trump in any way? I ask that in the light of the fact that Trump receives a presidential daily briefing every day. They have what they call the National Intelligence Estimates in the United States of America across 17 security agencies. They gather them together and dump it.
It also happens here.
It also happens here. Now, when Trump sifts through all of that intelligence, because they also have their embassies here, their consulate, their military and security attaches who report. They have CIA agents here, active agents as we know them. Now, do you think this lobbying is going to sway Trump in his direction of what to do about Nigeria?
That's why in my landing submission, I said it's a misplaced priority.
Okay, because it wouldn't work.
Because it's not going to work. Because for every step you take to push out a narrative that seeks to subsume facts and evidence, there is a counter intel that gets to the President of America and the security apparatus in America that these things are actually happening. And there's no way you could shield some of these things from these people that gather this intelligence. Like you said, there are active agents in Nigeria. Those active agents are not necessarily Americans. Yes. They are indigenous to us. You could be one.
Oh, you could.
For all I care. And I could be one. You understand? So we have seen a situation where our sitting president was branded as an active agent, and we have not heard from him or anybody in government that is not or that he is. So we have seen people.
Okay, so basically, you think that is not going to sway Trump?
It's not going to sway.
Now, finally, let me ask you: when I talked about the presidential daily briefing and the national intelligence estimates that they have in the United States, you say we also have it here.
Yes.
So, of what value?
In fact, in Nigeria, at some point, I was aware that the NIA, the DSS, and other military apparatus, Defense Intelligence Agency, and all that. They do hourly security reports, and these are collated at the headquarters and forwarded to the president. Even in states, it's also the same thing. That's why some governors will tell you they are privy to security reports. So at intervals, they get the security report.
All right, then. Thank you very much.
They can't claim not to be aware of.
All right, thank you for your submission there. Let's go back to Elder Yusuf Dambaki for his concluding thoughts. Let's make that brief, please, in 1 minute.
Okay. I just want to speak on whether Trump would change or not. I think it can go either way. This is politics. There could be other interests, despite the reports. There could be other interests that he will consider, and that might make him to stay action. So I think it could go either way. And Tinubu on his part can also fulfill certain demands that could appease the American government, and then it could pass.
All right.
So that's what I have to say on that.
All right, thank you very much. Now let's move away from that conversation. Let's get into another conversation. Kwankwanso gives fresh conditions to dump NNPP for APC. Well, stay tuned. We'll be back to discuss this one after this break.
On Edu Dialogue, we bring you fresh ideas and conversations, shaping the future of learning in Nigeria and beyond.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing.
And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People Television, where your health has a voice.
Mr. Ofamiloni, and here's to VOP TV. Keep watching, stay tuned, do not touch that dial.
My name is Made Kuti, and you're watching VOP TV. Keep watching.
Welcome, my name is Zika Davis. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys, viewers, everybody, boys and girls. This is VOP TV. Do you know what that means? Voice of the People TV. You don't have a voice, don't come here. You better make sure your voice is heard.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise. The issues on Voice of the People Television, Don't just react. Understand.
Welcome back. The former Kano State Governor and national leader of the NNPP, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, has made it clear that any political move to the APC would depend entirely on firm political guarantees, particularly concerning the control of Kano State and the protection of his supporters. He stated this on Wednesday at his Nila Road residence in Kano while receiving party leaders and members from Rano and Dawakin Tofa local government areas. Kwankwaso said he remains open to political realignments that will not risk repeating past mistakes. According to him, discussions about joining the APC cannot progress without clear commitments on the fate of NNPP lawmakers, party officials, and grassroots supporters who form the backbone of the Kwankwasia movement. Kwankwaso recalled that his political bloc had previously played a decisive role in helping to form governments at the federal level, only to be marginalized once power was secured. He warned that history must not be allowed to repeat itself. He also stressed that so far, no APC leadership figure has provided assurances that his political structure will be preserved or that the Kano State government will remain intact under proposed alliances. Still with us here to discuss this, we have Mr. Dele, and joining us this morning, we have Ayoyinka Uni, a former Lagos chairman of the AAC. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And we still have Elder Yusuf with us here to discuss it. So let me just go straight to you. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, speaking clearly from a political stand, Kwankwaso has said the right thing for his people, basically. The purpose of political alliance in Nigeria is to make sure that you are more closer to power, have more opportunity at the federal level, and ensure that you don't lose the little power that you have gained over the years. So, of course, he has said the right thing, but bringing it to the political climate of the country, it gives Nigeria the understanding that politicians, these regular politicians, I will use that word, do not make alliances for the progress of the country itself. It's just basically for their interest, their party, their family, as mentioned, the movement, and their states, So basically that's the politics. To me, it's a shallow politics, and it's not going to take us anywhere.
All right, Jele Fanimo, let's bring you into this conversation now. Now, how might this move by Kwankwaso of the Kwankwansiya movement, there's a Gandujiya movement on the side. I'm sure you know that. And then the Kwankwansiya movement. Now, how will this affect the protest votes in the north, especially amongst the youths that tend to support Rabbi Kwankwaso?
I don't understand what you mean by protest votes.
There's a select community of
Kano.
Yes, that are loyal to Kwankwaso. If he decides to move to the APC, do you think they will move with him?
You see, the Kano political dynamics is a little bit dicey now. But the AC tilts more towards the Kwakwasiya.
Okay.
The movement is massive, huge.
So Ganduje
was torturing even before he left government. And the fact that he was also dropped as party chairman, it was as a result of the way they were binding Kwankwaso to succeed Shetima. And that heightened the political tension in Kano. But as it is now, I'm sure that he's no longer sure, Kwankwaso is no longer sure if he will be fielded as the vice presidential candidate of APC along with the current president. And so all these are just for him to extract as much commitment as possible. Ultimately, he will cross over to APC. But before going to that level of crossing, He wants to be sure. And he's also pushing it back to his people that, look, whatever the situation is, I am solidly behind you. And I'm trying to make sure that I get as much as I could to make sure that you are comfortable if you are subsumed in APC towards the next election. But as for this issue of protest votes, I don't think, because NNPP as a party was just like any other party, vehicle, I call them vehicle, used during the last election, just like Labour Party was just a vehicle
used by Peter Obi.
You know, for Peter Obi. And it is easy. It's just like you are cherry picking to get a car. The moment you disembark on that car.
All right. Let's talk about Kwakwanso moving to the APC. Recall that last week, Kwakwanso said something. He said, at this point, I'm ready to deputize for Peter Obi. The next week, which is this week, he says, look, well, we might likely, I will not stop my movement from getting into the APC. Is he playing a politics of decoy? Is he trying to deflect? Or has he come to the understanding that it might not be possible for him to deputize the president, that he might not be able to take out Shettima? Because the issue of Shettima's vice presidency, sometimes, whether he's going or not, it has lulled. There's a lull in that. And people are not talking about it strongly the way it was like 1 year ago. It's more like it's been settled that he's going back with the president. So do you think that Kwakwanso is playing a politics of decoy to deflect attention what he's doing with Peter Obi or what he's doing with APC?
You see, don't forget that Kwakwanso is an old war horse.
Okay.
It's an old war horse. And he has come a long way in politics at the national level. So he will not want to go to the table with a very weak negotiating tool. So what he's trying to do is, he's just trying to fill the purse using the mass movement of Kwakwasia as his negotiating tool to see if ADC, and of course, if ADC, it is almost like 85 to 90% sure that Atiku will want to wrestle the ticket of ADC. And if he wrestles the ticket of ADC, Kwakwanso is not
in the picture.
In the picture anymore.
When you say that Kwakwanso is an old war horse, how much has he done? I mean, for everything he has done, he's not been able to expand NNPP beyond Kano State. And in fact, as a matter of fact, a lot of people feel that he's struggling to maintain that cohesion in Kano State. The governor, Yusuf, is intent on moving to the APC. And so that is why Kwakwanso is more like gravitating towards APC. So in all of this, do you think that Kwakwanso has a lot of political weight, a lot of political value, to bargain for the vice presidency in APC?
You see, the only weight you can locate within Kwakwanso's camp is the mass vote from Kano. After Lagos, it's Kano.
Okay.
Kano has close to 3 million votes. And you recall that majority of these people that registered to vote, regardless of being underage or whatever, would come out on that day to vote. Unlike here that we have about 3 million and only 700 to come and vote. So what we are saying is, politics is a game of number. Where you know that you can get a chunk, you can't just close your eyes and dismiss it.
All right then.
And so it's a dicey situation for Kwakwanso. Kwakwanso is not comfortable going to ADC because if Atiku gets ticket,
he won't
be.
But talking about the numbers,
and even APC is no longer sure for him in APC.
Okay.
Because Shettima has risen beyond when he was being touted as replacement for Shettima.
I want to talk about the numbers, the 3 million votes. Ganduje had it. He couldn't convert it to electoral victory. NNPP took it from him. So anything could happen.
I say, but is it not the same Kano that you have the votes? Okay. It's the same Kano now. So it is wherever it wants to tilt. Kwakwanso movement was just like the hurricane of Peter Obi
All right, then.
in 2023 election.
All right, let's go back. Let's go to Elder Yusuf Dambaki now. Welcome back to the conversation. Now, Kwankwantia movement, Kwankwanto, and his vote, 3 million votes, as it were. Now, all of the 3 million votes was only able to give him a little over 1 million in the 2023 presidential elections. Now, do you think and then with all the bargaining that he's putting forward now, the conditions that he's putting forward to either defect or not defect, and to where, do you think he's positioning himself as, a kingmaker ahead of 2027 elections?
Okay, yes, I think to understand Kwankwaso very well and his negotiating skills, you have to do that in comparison to what Wike is doing. You can see one thing they have in common and other things they do not. Kwankwaso is not so overbearing on the governor like Wike is doing. However, he is holding on to the people, not to structures and offices, but he's holding on to the people that have the votes directly. And he's using that to negotiate very well. And aside that, you see, in negotiation, you have to give both parties impression that you have option so that you can have a good placement. If you look at Wike, he was holding on to PDP while negotiating for good positions in APC. Unfortunately, he could not manage the PDP very well, and is now becoming vulnerable. But Kwankwaso, on his part, he already knows exactly where he's going to. But he's giving both the ADC and the APC impression that if you don't negotiate very well, I have an option. But he already knows exactly where he is going to. And I think he is going to end up a kingmaker, like you just said. He's going to win because he's threatening one party with the other. And he will look at what the offers and he will pick the best one. And I guess he's going with APC.
All right then. Okay. Coming back to you, Ayoinka Oni. Yeah. Now, with all these defections, all this, clamoring for where to align, how does this impact or affect the coalition talks?
Well, the political climb now is the games going on is a very funny one, and just picking up from what Elder said regarding Wike, everybody is holding on to what position they have now to get a bigger one, And when you lose on both ends, you run back to your people, because basically it's still the people that you use to get those strengths. But I want to shift the discussion away from the coalition of politicians that we know. Whatever happens in this election, Kwankwaso and Wike are not going to lose. Whatever happens, Kwankwaso, Wike, or whoever is fighting for position now,
they're not going to lose.
They're not going to lose. They're not going to lose. Either Kwankwaso gets vice president or he doesn't get, or he gets ministerial position, he's not going to lose. These people have been, like he said, they are hold guards, have been in the political space for a long time. They have grabbed a lot of money and resources for themselves. So whoever becomes president in 2027, they just retire back to their wealth. But the people that will lose are the masses. And the masses seems to be quiet and not doing any coalition of their own. They are watching the games as the NNPP is playing the games, the Wike is playing his game, and they are laughing about it. And there's a lot of, this is the age of content creation now. A lot of content from every of Wike's activities, and Bravo Kwankwaso has done in the north and also so on. And that is the area that I am concerned about. These games are not new. And basically, I'm not going to blame them. That's how they are going to play it, because you want more power, that is why Kwankwaso is talking about his people, letting them know that I stay with you. Every decision I'm going to make, you must get the full benefit, But he doesn't care if he ends up with the APC or the ADC, whoever gives him the best opportunity.
Do you think the AAC has what it takes to wrestle power from the APC. Shouldn't the AAC consider joining a coalition?
Well, in fact, that's a very good question. And that question will now even take me back to the masses. The reason why the AAC is not in talks with any of this coalition is because the coalition of either the APC that we have had 2015, had another 2023, and the ADC, who are just remnant of APC, old guys, and the PDP and Labour, whatever, are basically pushing the same policies to Nigeria. Do we want a change of party or want change of policy process and the ideology in which we run our country? So if AAC is just trying to play normal politics and, okay, let's sit with the ADC and increase their strength, or let's go back to APC and how we can help them, it's basically just going to be the same result for Nigeria. And we are concerned about the transformation of the society, transformation of the country. So the coalition that the AAC wants, from national level to the state, is that of the masses, of the people.
How much of the masses' votes can you brag of? Some politicians will say, oh, I guarantee 2 million votes from here. I guarantee 1 million here. I guarantee 3 million here. How many can you brag?
Like the man in Edo State who was doing a lot of guarantee, but 2 weeks ago or last week, they tore down his banner of Tinubu and himself. All those kind of statements are based on money politics. So you are guaranteed that you are going to share money to buy the people. So, of course, you guarantee your 1 million or you share bag of rice. But AAC do not make such dangerous statements.
Do you have a record of your registered members? How many?
Of course, we do. I'm not going to speak now because I don't have any official party position. Yeah, but we have. In fact, when I was chairman,
there was 1,500,000, 200.
But when I was chairman, I remember that the INEC requested for the registered members.
Okay.
And at that time, it was only
you were chairman
AAC.
in Lagos.
Yes, it was only AAC that could provide it nationally. Other parties had to quickly rush. Now AAPC is trying to do online registration but we have had that. We are a digital party, but I don't know the figure. But what I want to say is that the masses need to have a coalition with those that are talking about ideas that will transform their society. Look at Uganda. There's a mass support of Bobby Wine. Mass support. It's not a statement of Bobby Wine coming out to say, I can guarantee 2 million because it's going to buy some people. The masses are involved in the politics. That is what's going to transform Nigeria.
What happens in Uganda, because internet access has been cut.
Oh, yes, yes.
Elections are around the corner there, with some opposition running and hiding, not even being able to
The man has arrested and killed over 700 people since the campaign started.
We'll see what happens in Uganda. But anyway, Elder Yusuf, now you basically have pitched your tent with the Labour Party. Are you going to leave anytime soon? Are you going to look for somewhere to go to? Are you interested in running for office or supporting somebody? If you are, who would you support? Are you with Peter Obi? Are you against Peter Obi? Which one? Elder Yusuf, please.
To my personal ambition.
Okay, go ahead.
To my personal ambition, it's too early to let the cat out of the bag.
That must be a big
But I'm with Peter Obi 100%. And Peter Obi has moved to ADC, and he has ordered us to also move. But there are other local arrangements that we need to put in place at the various state level to move. So what I will tell you now is that I'm in Labour Party preparing to move to ADC. Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you very much. That's a good one. A good place to end the conversation as well. As we move to another, we'll be going to Rivers State now. It's neither the ADC or the Labour Party in Rivers State. It's the PDP and the APC. 2 more Rivers lawmakers back out of impeachment plot against Fubara and his deputy. What does this mean for the impeachment process? Let's talk about this when we come back from this break.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight On Voice of the People Television, let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as they hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
Two more members of the Rivers State House of Assembly, Honorable Barile Nwako and Honorable Emilia Amade, have backed out of the impeachment plot against Governor Sim Fubara and his deputy, Professor Ngozi Odo, by the State Assembly. Nwako represents Kana Constituency 1 in the House of Assembly, while Amade represents Ubiakpo Constituency 2. Addressing journalists in Port Harcourt, the two female lawmakers urged their colleagues to hold the impeachment proceedings against the governor and his deputy. While the latest development came barely 24 hours after two members of the House, Honorable Silvanus Nwankwo and Honorable Peter Abe, earlier backed out of the impeachment plot against Governor Fubara. Well, we still have in our studio here our gentlemen, Dele Fanimo and Ayo Yinka Oni, and virtually Elder Dan Baki. Gentlemen, thanks for staying with us. Dele, 4 people now have pulled out of the impeachment plot. And it's instructive to know that one of the second persons represents Mwike in the House of Assembly, Obiakpo local government area. That is Mwike's local government. But I don't know whether it is constituency 2 or 1, but then it's also instructive that it is in his local government. So, by extension, representing him. Now, does it look like the empire is crumbling? Mwike's empire has crumbled as far as this impeachment plot is concerned. Recall, we heard, unconfirmed reports said that he was in the House of Assembly on that fateful day that they read the impeachment notice to supervise proceedings there. Does it look like Wike's empire is crumbling?
I've told you that that impeachment, I told you last week, that is not going to sail through. And so I'm not surprised when more lawmakers will still jump ship in the days ahead. Because the man that pulls the string is even beyond the River State. More so now, they are not.
Who would that be? Sorry, before you go, who would that be?
The president now.
Okay, the president.
Yeah. What is going to happen is, at the end of the day, you see, there's a way they do it to save their face, because it's now an internal affair. Because it is APC trying to impeach APC. And they know that it's going to be a kind of cutting the nose to spite the face if it's sailed through. So they're going to walk around it and make sure that those people will back down, and it will look as if a house divided against itself, and then somebody will just come in and say, no, we have to be a rescuer of the ship, and then there will be a kind of rapprochement that will sort all these things out. But I have already told you there is no way. But another thing again that the president will not want to do, he will not want to openly humiliate Wike.
Okay.
He will find a way around it, that it will be like no victor, no vanquished. But I can also tell you that ultimately, Wike is going down.
Okay, ultimately Wike is going down. And I don't know what other humiliation you can make out to somebody if you take away his political structure from him. I think that's enough damage to him. Let's bring in Ayo Yikon into this conversation. You are conversant with what's been going on in River State. So I would like to ask you, Dele said something that we know, or that he knows, especially the person that is pulling the strings, talking about the president. Now, in a federal system of government, should we have a president who, apart from controlling the center, also has his leverage on a state, like River State? Is it proper? How does that help us build up our democracy?
It's sad. It's sad that it's even in a democratic setting. And I would say shame on the President Wike and the Governor Rivers for what they have put that state through. let's go back from the 6 months of term impeachment or removal of a governor to install a naval officer. So terrible in such a democratic system. And that was the beginning of Tinubu taking the final grab on Rivers politics, And this politics has continued. And the people that are suffering is the people of Rivers State. Fubara is not going to suffer. What is he going to lose? Neither are Wike suffer. Like I said, these guys have grabbed resources already. You remember it was Accountant General, so when Wike was there. So there's nothing lost for them than the power struggle. But it is clear and it is true that the ultimate of all this battle is to reduce the power of Wike, which is going to happen. And this political arrangement started in 2023 when Wike lost out the vice president ticket in PDP. Imagine a man from South requesting to be the FCT minister. The FCT minister has always mostly been from the north, and that was a big bargain. And Wike is someone that can ask for that, and most likely he might not be getting that position in the second term if Tinubu gets back to power.
If you understand politics very well, which I know you do you think that Wike has the capacity to cause some kind of upset or damage to the presidency if eventually he is taken out?
He doesn't have the capacity anymore. The capacity that he had, he has given it to Fubara. That's what he did. Fubara was the PDP, was the governor. You replace the lawmakers, and the lawmaker that you replace, Fubara has gone to meet them in APC. And just like he said, he's an APC lawmaker. All of them are members of the APC. So basically, the impeachment or whatever, it will not stand. It's just a joke.
Okay,
it's just a fix.
But Wike undertook a tour of the 23 local government areas last week.
Yes.
And not even one did the local government chairman and the councillors not come out to meet Wike and give him his support.
Of course.
So does that look like a man who has lost power?
It's to show strength, and that's what they did. I think it was more than 18 days or so. Okay. It's to show strength that, I might have lost the governor and all that, maybe the house, but I need to allow the president to know that I still own the local government. Fubara will do his own. You have money.
And
how much has the local government? Fubara will do
his
own and they will still come out. So basically, he has money. This is an FCT minister. If you give some few millions to local government chairman, everybody will come out and be loyal to you. The people that were loyal to Wike 2 weeks ago in the store will come out and do the same thing for Fubara.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Mr. Ayoyinka. Now, let's go to Elder Danbaki. And Elder, help us make sense of. Oh, okay. I understand that we've lost connections with Elder Danbaki, unfortunately. So let's come back to the studio. Now, the issue of Rivers State. Now, this impeachment plot is apparently, falling apart. The impeachment plot is falling apart. Do you think that Fubara will now have an opportunity to make fence, to mend fence with the legislators? Because the Martins Amewule, Martins is still, smoking fire. That nothing will stop the impeachment and that the notice will be issued and all of that. Do you think that this division is going to help Fubara, assert himself, especially when we hear that the 27, okay, now we have 4 people out, that the other people are still loyal to Yesu. Okay, what do you see in the coming days?
No, the loyalty is just momentary.
For Wike?
Okay. Because alliances will shift in the days ahead through inducement, through subterfuge, through blackmail. And in this game, Fubara holds the aces. And I'll tell you why. Those lawmakers, were they altruistic in their push for impeachment? No. All they wanted was to cover lost ground. They have lost so much in terms of allowances, in terms of money that should have been made through oversight functions, in terms of constituency allowance and all that. And Fubara also humiliated them during Christmas
by giving them
100,000 naira. I mean, you as you are seated here at your level, if your employer decides to send 100,000 naira to you, I consider it as humiliation. So you better not send anything to me. To talk of a legislator who knows the job, the budget of that state, who knows what goes to security votes, Who knows what goes to some other areas that are not explainable? Who also knows that there was a time when their principal, so-called principal, was in the saddle, and this particular governor was shielding 18 billion monthly for 8 years from the good people of Rivers State, which is likely to continue. And then you are now sending such people 100,000. Definitely, they will fight back. And I'm sure that negotiation is on the
all right, talking about negotiations. Talking about negotiations going on the ground. You know, one of the bone of contention has been second term bid of the governor. Will he run for second time? Will he not run? If the impeachment is stalled or stopped, as it were, does that mean, or do you think that means he has the tickets to vie for the position again? Or will there be another underground agreement? Say, okay, we will not impeach you, just step aside.
If you have to use the doctrine of first
offer of refusal,
then Fubara has it.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. I'm sorry to use this language. If you are presented two women, one is accomplished, one is just struggling, and you are about to get married, which one would you prefer?
It depends.
It
depends.
It depends on a lot of
factors. But you see, in politics, you rather pitch your tent with the one that is already made. Yeah. Because you don't have to start from all those little things. You know, taking care of all those little things.
Who is already made now?
For Fubara, Fubara already has the pulse of the state.
Okay.
It has the
pulse
government
of the
machinery.
State. Local governments are not his men. Those occupying the position are not his men, really.
Let me tell you,
are not his men, really.
No matter the level of hatred.
Wike seems to be pushing Amewule forward to replace him.
No matter the level of hatred the local government chairman has for him, they will still sit at joint account allocation committee meeting.
Yes.
And he was going to preside. And he's also going to determine how much goes to this local government. They are not getting the allocation direct from Abuja.
But the issue is, will they now support him knowing that...
They will support him because they also want second-term tickets. They will support him.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day. So, you see, the only straw that is becoming too weak for Wike is the president, not presidency.
Sorry, quickly, let me ask you because we are almost out of time. Do you think that a situation where a local government receives 200 million naira, and the governor says, okay, as usual, what they normally do, I take 50 million, but sign for 200 million. Do you think the local government chairman in this situation will sign?
They've been signing before.
They've been signing, of course.
So
with Fubara?
Yes, they will sign. Those guys are not there for the people of Rivers State. They are there for themselves. And as long as the pay comes in, so be it.
So they have dual loyalty, one to the governor, one to the FCT.
You see, it was a momentary loyalty to Wike because Ibas was in the saddle and Wike holds Ibas. Now, Fubara is back and Fubara holds all the aces. The only straw that is considered weak, as far as I'm concerned, is the president to Wike now. And if he loses that straw, believe me, he's sinking.
So I just want to ask, Wike is not known to keep quiet, especially when he's sidelined. Do you think he still has that political machinery to destabilize these new arrangements?
It will make effort, but that effort will be in nullity because the man, Fubara, has risen from his ashes like a phoenix. And
like a phoenix, he rises.
So let me even add that the battle with Fubara and Wike lost. Hope we know. It's nobody that stepped in for him. So Wike's power is going to be going down gradually. It's not something that you can just take out like a snap. He was a governor for 8 years.
And you don't think he can speak against the man that put him there?
What does Tinubu need? Tinubu needs to win Rivers. If Fubara can do it for him, what does he need Wike for? You're just going to dump him and do another FCT minister.
And Wike will not sing.
But it's not going to be immediately.
And Wike will not sing.
Well, he will just go and retire like every other person retires, every other past governor. Two things for governors. Either you get into the Senate, you are a minister, or you go and retire in your village. It's very simple.
All right, then. Well, this will be a good place to anchor the conversation. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Ayoninka Oni, former Lagos State Chairman, AAC. Thank you very much for coming on the program. Also, Dele Fanimo, seasoned reporter, a veteran reporter. Thank you very much for your contribution. We've also been speaking with Elder Yusuf Dambaki, who joined the conversation virtually. I think we lost connection to him. But thank you very much for your contribution as well. Well, that's it on the show. I am Moses Humphrey.
I am Chukuma Okoro. See you again on top of the hour, 10 o'clock for Newspaper Review.
And I'm Jane Ogoye. Thank you so much for joining us.